Let's talk about Yuri. Go describe what Yuri is to the uninitiated. You'll get one of two reactions. They will either give you a very confused, uncomfortable look, or a very uncomfortable and disgusted look. And for those of you who are uninitiated, will allow me to initiate you. Yuri is simply a genre in Japanese media that has to do with love between two girls. Now, how far that love goes really depends on the work. It could just have to do with two girls exchanging glances from across a classroom, to a very hardcore game of Find the Bean. Even among anime fans, Yuri has a bit of a stigma about it, often being seen as just a fetish among a sea of fetishes. But I am here to tell you, that is not completely true. When I started making this video, I wanted to show people the finer points of Yuri. I wanted to show people that it's not just a fetish, that it can be deep and heartwarming, that can invoke emotions in people that many other shows cannot. And so I picked Strawberry Panic for this. And then after rewatching it, I realized I should not have picked Strawberry Panic for this. Now don't get me wrong, I adore Strawberry Panic, one of my top 10 shows of all time. But it's not exactly what you would call deep. Some parts are, but then there are some parts that just go to undermine itself. It's a show with many ups and a few downs. But what I also discovered after watching this show for about the 6th time is that despite having these flaws, it's still a great show. The things I don't like can easily be forgiven because all of the other things in it really stand above the rest. It doesn't have the best animation or the best characters, not the greatest plot in the world either, but if you take all those things, mix them in a vat, throw in a dash of Yuri, actually a whole lot of Yuri, then it becomes much greater than the sum of its parts. So join me as we take a deep look at the Yuri show, Strawberry Panic. Before we talk about the show, let's talk about how it was made. There's a lot you can learn about just from the production of an anime, especially when you take a look at the background of the people that made it. Let's start at the beginning. Strawberry Panic started out in life as a series of illustrated stories published in Dengeki's G's magazine, published from 2003 to July 2005. The anime was made in 2006, made by none other than Madhouse. That's right, Madhouse, with all their talent and resources, made a Yuri anime in 2006. A move that probably no one ever saw coming. Now you might be asking, well, magical, who wrote such a magical piece of work? And that would be Kimino Sakurako. Never heard of him? Well, he wrote a little known work called Sister Princess. Oh yeah, and some idol show no one watched. It wasn't until I actually started doing research for this video that I found out how interesting the people who made this show are. There's some real oddities making a Yuri anime in 2006. For instance, one of the script writers is Takayashiki Hideo. He worked on Ashita no Joe 2, Barefoot Gen 2, and some show about, what's this here? How do you say this name? How do you call him?
Some call him Agent Keaton, the insurance investigator, eager to take on assignments very few are brave enough to consider. Some call him Drill Master Keaton, a steely-eyed SAS survival instructor and a proud Falklands war hero. Some call him Detective Keaton, the determined sleuth who unlocks the most baffling and most dangerous mysteries. Some call him Taichi Hiraga Keaton, devoted father to his charming daughter Yuriko.
One out, Onisama A, which we will get to at a later date, and the Super Mario Brothers movie, the animated one, not the live action one. Oh, and Kaiji, just throw that in there, why not? This guy's incredible. This guy's done so many major things. I've never heard of him before. And he helped make a Yuri anime in 2006. So you could really say this was his magnum opus. He only did the script for 7 episodes, but god damn, did they get an all-star for those 7 episodes? I'd like to know what the pitch was to this guy to get him to do a Yuri anime script. There's also Fudeyasu Kazuyuki, who is also a scriptwriter on the show, and he's done the script for a lot of shonen. JoJo, Bleach, Claymore, Gochumon Wasagi Desu Ka, although that was the only script compilation for that. He's also done Milky Homes, Rainbow, Camphor, all the greats. And the music, oh boy, the music. This show definitely has the best soundtrack of any Yuri show I've ever seen, if not one of the best anime soundtracks of all time. It fits the show so well. It's elegant and gentle when it needs to be, and fun and bouncy when it calls for it. It just puts you right in the mood for some pure Yuri romance. The soundtrack was done by the very talented Yoshihisa Hirano, who also did the soundtrack for Death Note, the 2011 Hunter x Hunter anime, Ouran High School Host Club, and Hajime no Ippo Rising. So, as you might be able to tell, he gets around a little bit. For the anime, the person who did the character designs was Kyuta Sakai, and you might know them from doing the character designs of the anime adaptation of Higurashi. You can immediately tell this once you put the 2 animations side by side. I love how the characters look in this show. I mean, the colors just really pop, and every character's design is a pretty good reflection of their personality. Nagisa is innocent and clumsy, Shizuma is alluring and dangerous. Very dangerous. And that's one of the good points about this show. Everything goes to complement each other. Even some of the generic background characters have personality in their drawing. The setting of Strawberry Panic takes place on Estrella Hill. The hill is made up of 3 sister schools where men don't exist and everyone is a raging lesbian. No one questions this, and it's treated like being a giant les queen is the default of all young girls. There's actually no confirmation either on whether men exist in this world or not, outside of one scene which could be argued is not actual proof. It doesn't really matter if you believe men exist in this world or not, as regardless, any girl at the school will stick their tongue 3 feet down your throat given the chance. Assuming you are of the fairer sex, of course. 3 schools exist at the top of this hill. You have the Yuri staple, quote-unquote, Catholic girls' school, Mietor, who follow the teachings of the Lord to the letter. You have the more posh and modern Saint Spica, and the school that literally does not give a damn, Les Rim. These schools make up the dynamic of the series, with the story following various characters from each school and girls from all schools interacting with each other. And with that, we should move on to our heroines. In a show like this that doesn't necessarily have a strong plot, the characters really make or break the show. If the characters aren't intriguing in any way, or even just fun to watch, what's the point of the show? I personally think that Strawberry Panic delivers on the character front in spades. Many people believe that Yuri is just smut, but that's almost never the focal point. Almost always it relies on a strong cast interacting with each other, and growing as the series moves forward. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of smut, but that's more of the cherry on top of the cherry. This is our main character, Aoi Nagisa. If this were any other anime, she'd be the generic transfer student with no personality, who is able to win the heart of any girl as long as they help them up after tripping. Instead, she's a transfer student with something called personality and character. She actually does things throughout the series that makes characters care for her. She still kind of has that bubbly protagonist kind of personality, but a very likable one that surprisingly doesn't get annoying, and not so stupid that she makes you want to claw your brains out. I really like Nagisa. She's pretty great. She's like the friend that has nothing really special about her. She's still really well liked by everyone. She's kind of like that dumb looking dog. You know the one. Can't do any fancy tricks or really anything, but damn does it have such a cute, stupid look on its face. And it just makes you go, hey, maybe I'm not really dead on the inside after all. It's to no surprise then that from day 1 at her new school, she's a target. For instance, let me just play a few clips from her first day at school. Here we have the future main love interest that she stumbles onto in the first day of school, literally, who then proceeds to knock her out with the power of her gaze. After awaking in the nurse's office, she is then assaulted again by her soon-to-be roommate, another character we will cover here shortly. And finally, she is assaulted again at dinner. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the main love interest of Nagisa, Hanazono Shizuma, the school's étoile. She's a goddamn female Marlon Brando. Girls go weak in the knees just gazing into her eyes. She has a mysterious beauty that captivates all the young girls at every single school here. Not a single one is immune to her charms. The first few times her and Nagisa meet, Shizuma puts Nagisa under some sort of gay hypnosis that causes her to be put in some sort of gay trance. I'm going to also take this chance to tell you about a major aspect of the school, and that is the aspect of the étoile, as they call it, or star in French. The étoile is the figurehead of the school. While each school has their own student council, and we meet the student council president and members, the étoile stands above all of them as a sort of model student. I use the term model student here loosely because, well, Shizuma is anything but that. In the beginning, at least. But we'll get to that later. Moving on to the other characters of the series. Now, the series primarily focuses on Nagisa's and Shizuma's relationship, but there is another couple that the show follows about a fourth of the time. I'll just say their relationship is a bit wet, and not in the good way either. Well, somewhat in the good way. Let me explain. First off, you have Konohana Hikari, the focal point of the secondary romance, and also comes with the personality of a bag of sand. Her love interest is Otori Amane, the horse-riding, girl-exciting, Hikari-delighting son of a gun. Only slightly more interesting than Hikari, she's Spica's equestrian team leader, and is the Yuri show's token prince character, who definitely isn't a man, but is close enough to one to make all the straight girls consider it while telling themselves it's okay as long as she's wearing pants. She's pretty devoid of a personality outside of her stereotype. However, not as much as Hikari is. You can sum up her entire subplot as a love triangle between two pieces of cardboard and one of the top girls. Her entire personality is just, she's nice, and the only reason everyone loves her is because she can kind of sing good, and everyone falls in love with her at first sight. She never even really does much throughout the show. She just stands there, looks longingly at Senpai, and that's it. Oh, and the attempted rapes, yeah. She's nothing really more than an object of others' affections, which is a really damn shame because she is voiced by the very wonderful and talented, and unfortunately late, Matsuki Miyu.
でも生徒たちを大切にし、美術への情熱をいつまでもなくさない人です。
This show is jammed-packed with amazing voice actors, but it really goes to show with Hikari's character that the voice acting is only as good as the script they're given. Hikari's only redeeming factor is that she's roommates with one of the top girls, the Les Queen herself, Yaya. Unfortunately, she gets a very raw deal on this show and is pretty much just made to suffer. But it's okay, she gets a consolation lolly in the end, which is more than some other characters got. And since we're on Hikari, let's talk about the only characters that can be considered villains in this show. These two girls, Kenjo Kaname and Kiyashiki Momomi, are straight up just evil lesbians. And I don't mean they are evil because they're lesbians, I mean they're lesbians who are evil. They spend most of the show plotting maniacally to take down the relationship between Hikari and Amane. What is the reason for wanting to do this? Well, I could tell you, but it's so damn stupid only two evil lesbians could think it up. But I don't really mind at all. They added the much needed spice this side plot needs. Without them, Hikari and Amane's relationship would be a spiceless, saltless, tasteless, mushy pile of gruel. They have such wacky plots such as attempted rape. That's right, they attempt to rape Hikari several times. And so does Yaya that one time, but let's not talk about that. Their logic behind this is that if they rape her, Hikari will fall for one of the villains, thus making it so Amane won't want to run in the election. Because this is Yuri logic. If you rape it, it will be gay for you. Of course, this never works because Amane foils the rape attempts. But who knows? If she hadn't got there in time, Hikari might have become an evil lesbian love slave. And I know the character descriptions are going on kinda long, but this has an ensemble cast. There are so many characters I like in this show. Take for instance Chikaru, the student council president of the ever laid-back Leirim. She does not give a damn about anything going on in the show and spends all of her time going around the school, solving mysteries, making cute clothing for people, anything. She literally creates random clubs on a whim. That coupled with her own little entourage that follows her around. Now that I think about it, she's probably creating so many clubs just to capture more girls. All these characters interacting in their fun-loving everyday life in between a few spats of drama really makes for a comfy, relaxing time. My worries and cares in the world just melt away when I'm watching a show like this. So as I stated earlier, the show mostly focuses on Nagisa's and Shizuma's relationship. And throughout the show, we see them growing closer and closer together, be that through the simple joys of gardening together, or through the much more complicated joys of playing a piano together, as well as a plethora of other events that happen during the time they're in school together, including a very, very gay play, where at first, Nagisa was just charmed by Shizuma's devilish good looks, and Shizuma was just playing around with a cute girl she saw. We actually get to see them form a genuine bond. The pacing of the relationship is done very well. The show is about 26 episodes long, and it's a nice slow paced, but not too slow, and not too fast either. It does drag a bit towards the end, but for about 80 to 90% of the show, it's done pretty well. As they get to know each other more, Nagisa finds small cracks in Shizuma's persona that no one else sees. After a while of them getting to know each other and Shizuma accepting her feelings for Nagisa, we get the big plot reveal of why she's such a functioning mess that she is. We actually learn that the schools have two étoiles. They run in an election as a pair together and are voted in by the students. Pretty much they're just voting for the top lesbians of the school. We don't learn this until about 2/3 of the way through the series, but Shizuma's partner, the one she ran with, passes away shortly after they were elected together. Her partner, Kaori, knew she didn't have long to live, so they decided to run in the election together. This was their last act as lovers before she passed away. It's left Shizuma traumatized since. She tries to bury her misery by playing around with cute girls, as you do when you're a super attractive lesbian and can have any girl in the school. And it's only until Nagisa comes along that she begins to take things seriously again. The last part of the series has to do with Shizuma overcoming her trauma and realizing that she has genuine feelings for Nagisa. To me, it's a very touching story. Shizuma is one of the reasons that the show is so polarizing among Yuri fans. You're either gonna love her or hate her. Shizuma is not exactly a gentleman throughout most of the show. She's a source of grief for a few characters, and it takes a while for Nagisa to whip some sense into her. And for those of you who have seen the show and are probably wondering, hey, Magical, when are you going to get to the best character and the reason I hate this show? Well, here's the part. This is Suzumi Tamao, who many consider to be their favorite character in the show. She's Nagisa's roommate and best friend throughout the series. Now let me just make one thing clear before I go into this. I love Tamao. She's one of my favorite characters, right up there with Yaya and Chikaru. Her interactions with Nagisa throughout the series are some of the best parts of the show. However, the writers thought it would be a good idea to make her a love interest of Nagisa, essentially turning part of the series into a sort of love triangle, but not really. From the very beginning, there's not an ounce of doubt that Nagisa is going to end up with Shizuma, There's just no way. Tamao was doomed from the beginning to fail, which I hate that it is that way. So I can understand it when people say they don't like the series, and they really drag this out to the very end, like the last scene. And like I said, most of the time, it's not a problem. It only starts getting really bad towards the last few episodes of the series. Up to that point, Tamao is just kind of a flirt for comedic effect. But nope, they just had to ruin it. If I was hired to remake Strawberry Panic, I would not make her a love interest at all. I would just make her a really good friend of Nagisa, because that's when she really shined. And anything else is just miserable. So I totally get it when people don't like that part of the show. I would say it was even cruel to do that. There was just no point to it besides adding that extra little spice of drama to the show that it really did not need. It could have at least been mitigated by giving her a consolation lolly like they did with Yaya. But fortunately though, that is just a small part of the series. And most of the time, it's lovely little flowers and birds chirping and all that jazz. And a little rape here and there. Well, I didn't do a very good job of selling this anime, did I? I think I talked more bad about the show than good, but that's just part of human nature. It's easier to talk about the bad stuff than it is the good stuff. And unfortunately, this is why Strawberry Panic has such a bad rep. However, I hope I did shine some light on the good stuff and convinced people to give the show a first or second chance. The music, the characters, most of them, the slight campiness to it all, in the end makes for a pretty enjoyable experience. Is it going to change your life? Probably not. Not unless you get hooked on the hardcore drug known as Yuri. Are you going to have fun watching cute girls battle it out for love in a school with no men at all in it? Most likely. Unless you just have no soul, in which case I can't help you here. When I started this video, I wanted to show people the finer points of Yuri. I wanted to justify my passion for Yuri. I wanted to showcase the deeper points. And in that regard, I failed completely. However, after working on this video, I did realize something. It doesn't have to be deep. It doesn't have to be thought-provoking either. It can just be a fun little show that just so happens to have lesbians in it. There's really no need to justify Yuri at all. I don't need to explain myself for liking something like this. I had so much fun watching this show again and making this video. And that's all the justification I needed. So, in conclusion, I really don't give a damn what anyone thinks. Everyone should watch cute girls kissing other cute girls. There. Hey, thank you very much for watching. This is the first Yuri review I've ever done. First review on anything I've ever done, so it's a bit rough. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. And let me know in the comments what show you think I should do next. I have a few things I'm thinking about doing, but I'd love some input on it. Magical? Why didn't you go into the book whatsoever? Well, I do own the book, and I do quite like it, but this video was going on quite long, so I decided to cut it. However, I think there's enough content in the book to maybe do like a short 5 to 10 minute video on it. It's pretty, interesting. Lots of differences. Magical? Why didn't you mention my favorite character? Again, kind of a time thing, and they also weren't too integral to the plot to mention, so sorry if your favorite side character got cut. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful night.
My love for you is like a truck, berserker.
You fool.
Do you want to making berserker? Berserker.
Did he just say making?
I have a rare medical condition that makes me spontaneously combust.